Good evening and welcome to what is the final episode of this season's Sports Locker, a season in which I think we've shone the spotlight on virtually every sport here on The Rock. Tonight I'm joined by Stephen Whatley, a young and multi-talented sportsman whose love for fencing has seen him spearhead a proposal to officially establish the sport here in Gibraltar. Stephen, thanks for taking some time out. Before we get on to the fencing, you suffered a pretty serious head injury around about 18 months ago, coming up to 2 years. Last time we spoke, it was sort of just after the injury. How's everything going now?
A lot better than it was last year. In that I've got something called post-concussion syndrome, and it's a very progressive thing. In that you very gradually get better, and you can't really do much about it other than the rest. So it just takes time. So a year on, I'm a year better than I was last year, so it's going well.
It was sport-inflicted?
Yes.
The injury?
It was at fencing, actually.
It was at fencing?
That I had the injury. I was elbowed in a warm-up, so we didn't have our masks on or anything. In a warm-up, I was elbowed in my right temple. And
so you've had to take some time away from sport. How has it affected your day-to-day? We spoke just before we began the show about the different aspects of the symptoms, and you appeared, you were involved in Jib Talks to speak about how it affected your life day-to-day.
It was an honour to be asked to give a Jib Talks this year in January, and I kind of spoke about the period between my accident and the Commonwealths, which I competed in about 8 months later. When it comes out on YouTube, anyone will be able to go and see it, so you can check that out later. But I basically kind of, as a brief roundup, I kind of talked about different aspects that it can affect you in. So there's physical, there's behavioural, and then there's cognitive. So there's a massive range of different symptoms that you can have, and it changes from person to person. So there's no kind of set symptoms that you get, And if you break a leg, doctors know it's going to take 6 weeks or whatever, and then you can start walking on it a little bit with a boot or whatever. But with a head injury, there's just no knowing, really. You have to really kind of play it by ear, see how it goes, case by case. And so for me, for example, some of the symptoms were extreme fatigue. So that was a physical one. Light sensitivity and noise sensitivity, that was a physical one as well. In terms of the behavioural, I became quite erratic, so my mood would change really quickly, and I'd get kind of these, they call it extreme emotions. So if I was upset, I was very upset. If I was happy, I was very happy. And then the cognitive, so I would find it difficult to concentrate, and I get...
Word selection, things like that?
Yeah, so word finding difficulties were really big for me, because I talk a lot, and I'd find I'd be in conversation, I'd be like, what's that word? And then I couldn't get past it. So I had to kind of work on deciding, no, it's okay, forget that word. The person I'm talking to will just have to understand I can't say it. And move on. Okay. Which is, I think, for anyone at any age, at any point in their life, is quite difficult. Yeah. But especially for someone, I think, my age, when you're younger, I think it's more difficult to accept there's something wrong with you. If that makes sense.
And I'm sure it will have taken a tight-knit group of friends and family, a support network to really understand your situation.
Yeah, and support network's massively important. That they say it's kind of vital to your recovery with something like post-concussion syndrome.
It sounds like recovery is going well. I'll tell you what, it must have been nerve-wracking getting into sports for the first time you got back into sports after.
I was quite raring to go, really, in that I didn't really... I think the cognitive impairment actually helped me in some ways, because I wasn't afraid of going back into it. I was like, I'm going to be fine. I'll just do it.
Let's do this.
I'll just go for it anyway. It'll be fine. So yeah. But I think there are occasions when I step on the piste or I go and play football or whatever, and maybe a ball comes my way. I'm like, do I want to header that?
Well, yeah, sure, exactly.
Or if I put my mask on, I'm like, better check this is on properly, And so it gets you sometimes that you're like a bit hesitant with some things. But I mean, it could have been a lot worse. I'm really lucky that it was just that I'm getting better, and I sat my exams this year when I should have been, by my age, by my year group, I should have been sitting them last year. So I'm waiting for my results right now, and whatever my results are, to be honest, I'm just happy that I managed to sit them. because
So you should be,
this time last year, I just had no chance. No way I could sit there for even half an hour, let alone 2.5 hours to sit an exam.
You playing chess again? Have you still got it?
So I think last time we spoke, I hadn't played since my accident competitively at all, because as I said, I couldn't sit there for long enough to concentrate. But yeah, I started playing in a league in Spain, and actually my first match back, I beat the highest rated player I'd ever beaten before.
Oh, really?
So in some ways, maybe it helped me.
That's an impression.
And then I played in the local Gibraltar tournament, which was great. And again, I was kind of the tournament went well, but even if it hadn't, I was just pleased to be kind of playing again in that environment, in that stressful environment where you're playing chess for like 12 hours a day, pretty much. For 10 days straight, it can take it out of you.
Do you feel kind of how far you went in chess? Do you feel now you've got a bit of a reputation surrounding yourself? Do you feel like you need to kind of like now meet expectations?
Yeah, I mean, I think from a young age...
if you wanted to drop chess tomorrow, do you feel like you could?
I feel like I could. Yeah, I feel like maybe I'd be letting a few people down.
Yeah,
sure.
Let me down.
Yeah, that too. That was at the forefront of my mind when I was thinking that. But yeah, I mean, I think from a young age I was quite... I had cameras on me when I was like 7 or whatever, playing. So I mean, I've always felt that little bit of pressure, but I think I've always played well under pressure, as in I think play better under pressure than when I'm not. So in terms of my competitiveness, it's helped. But if I wanted to just kind of step back from it, I think it's any sportsman's decision. Like a really good example is Andy Murray. I think he could carry on playing despite his injury. But if he wants to say, no, I've had my career, I'm happy with it, and for me it's best now to take a step back and do something else, then that's his decision, really. And I think there's so many factors involved in a decision like that I think what anyone else thinks is kind of irrelevant, really. It's your decision and that's it. And I don't want to, but if I did...
No, but I think it makes a lot of sense what you said. I mean, basically health first.
Yeah, pretty much. And putting yourself first in terms of, even if you're in the public eye to whatever extent, I think putting yourself first is not always... It's easier said than done, but I think it's really important. Like when I came back to playing, like I was being invited to tournaments and things in various places, but I kind of really... for once, I was quite adamant that I was like, no, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to make sure I get better. And because normally I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just go and play. This would be great. But I took my time and I went back to it slowly and when I was more ready. And I think to an extent, even I did go back a little bit too soon because I wasn't ready when I went back. But I paced myself so that that didn't have any sort of negative effect on my health, which was the most important thing.
Speaking of getting yourself in the public eye, you're now on the brink of beginning a local fencing association. How much of a challenge has that been?
Well, we've set up the association. It's going through the GSLA now, and we've got people registered already to sign up and come and fence when it gets going. We're looking for for more people to register. So anyone watching, if you want to register, you just either message me or message that we've got a Facebook page. Just type in Gibraltar Fencing Association. Message the page or myself, and we'll put you on the list for registration. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, actually, we're going to try and organise an open day at some point in August. Should definitely be at some point in August.
Like that you can sort of gauge.
Yeah, and we'll do a little exhibition. So I'll be fighting someone, a friend of mine, who just lives in the south of Spain, just so you can kind of see what it's like. And we'll try all the different weapons so that you can see what they're all like, because there's 3 different weapons for fencing. So you can see what each one of those is like. And when you come along, just register. When we start up the club, hopefully in August again, we'll put you down and we'll let you know all the details.
Good stuff. So there you go. Those are the basic details. We're going to have to call half-time. Half-time already. Time certainly does fly when you're with Stephen Whatley. We'll be doing a bit of a show and tell, actually, in part 2. So don't go away. Back in just 2 minutes. You win. You win, Mr. Whatley.
Thank you very much.
Oh, wow. 2 minutes already. We should sit down. Let's sit down.
All right.
Welcome back. So, actually, we can't speak like this, can we? Should we? Just one sec. Much better. Steve, there's a lot of gear to fencing.
Yeah. You get quite hot underneath all that when you're running about.
Wow. Talk me through it. That was a lot of gear to take away with a snap of a finger.
Yeah, it's very impressive skill you got there. I mean, it takes you at least, you have to go quite well prepared, and it's really annoying when you forget one piece of kit and you put everything on and then you go, I forgot to put this on underneath. So you get into quite a routine of doing it quite quickly. Because at a competition you don't have that long, they'll kind of call you at the piste and then you'll have to go quickly. Yeah.
I mean, protection, absolutely vital.
Yeah.
You've got your helmet, you've got your gloves.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's as safe a sport as any other, really, because you've got all this equipment. But there have been known to be freak accidents.
Go on, tell me.
So I mean, for example, I was in the UK last year fencing, and I was fencing one of my best friends, and I managed to somehow stab him through the hand with this not sharp blade at all. He had his glove, and it went through his glove, through this side of the hand, out the other side of the hand, out the other side of the glove, and then all the way back again. And then he didn't kind of notice, he just thought I'd hit him hard, he said afterwards. He kind of went back and he went, oh. And then I kind of looked at him and it was just like this stream coming down.
Yeah.
And he was like, and then he looked down at it and he went, ah, and he started screaming immediately as soon as he saw it.
It's like out of a film or something.
It was just one of those freak accidents. I mean, I've never seen anything like that before.
Right.
And a coach of mine was over there. He's been to the Olympics. He's coached at the Olympics for the Irish team, and he's never, he's very experienced. He's never seen anything like that. There's never been anything documented like that. It's a bit of a novelty, really. I managed to kind of break the rules by accident.
Just want to emphasise once again that is very uncommon, and if you are interested in joining up in local fencing, this is very uncommon.
It's beyond uncommon. It's like literally unheard of.
It's a far cry from chess as well.
Yeah, you don't see so many stabbings in chess, really.
So you won gold actually at the Junior Commonwealth Championships. If I'm not mistaken. Was that earlier this year?
So that was about 2 months after we last spoke. So it was last year. It was this time last year, almost exactly, actually. It was right at the end of July.
Take me there. What was it like?
Yeah, well, it was amazing. I mean, it was actually my first international for fencing. But I found a surprising surprising similarity between chess and fencing internationally. In that my first chess international, I was very nervous. It was my first big thing. It's very daunting. But for fencing, I wasn't so kind of daunted. I wasn't so worried about it. It was kind of just another international for me because I'd done them in chess so often. And obviously I had enough experience to be there in terms of the fencing aspect, so I was okay with that. And the psychological aspect I kind of took from chess, and I was okay. So that was quite a nice advantage to have for someone inexperienced in the international sense for fencing.
Right.
And I got there. It was the first time Gibraltar's competed there, so I was the sole competitor for Gibraltar, which was
a little bit of history there.
Yeah, definitely. And it was quite nice because you'll find that when you're the only competitor from your country, all the other countries want to adopt you. So you kind of like walk around and you get introduced to all these different people. And by the end of the week, I was kind of invited to the closing party for the Australian delegation and the Indian delegation, the English delegation, because they all want you to be part of their team because you're just by yourself. So it's quite a nice position. Socks? Yeah, I had. Yeah, and you might have seen before the snap. Had one red and one white sock, so that's kind of not really done.
Flying the flag.
Yeah, but I wanted to be a bit patriotic, as I was the first one, make a good impression. And actually, it went horrifically at the beginning because I got there a couple of days early. I was training every day. No, actually, it was in England. Unfortunately, I couldn't go anywhere cooler than that. It was in England, and I think it was in Nottingham, and I was training every day when I got there. Obviously, like in the training halls, in Athletes Village and all that, and my coach was there, and it was all going well. And then I went to this dinner that they had at the ceremony, and I got food poisoning, and I was really ill for a good day and a half, and this day and a half was directly before my competition, and I was throwing up on the side of the piste. Even like I went to watch. I didn't realise I had it, and I went to watch a friend of mine fight. And I had to go and leave immediately because I was throwing up on the side of the piste whilst he was fighting, which wasn't a pretty sight, to be honest. No, and someone else had also got it, and they actually they threw up through their mask whilst they were fighting.
Wow!
Which was
Steve, you were just a walking.
But that wasn't me. And so I was kind of in bed for the whole day before the competition, and had to phone an ambulance just to make sure that I was going to be okay to fight, that make sure that I was medically fit enough. That I wasn't going to make myself really ill. And they said that it was a bit risky, but I was like, I'm going to do it anyway. I've come all this way, and I wasn't going to throw away, years of training when this could be potentially my only chance at fighting. And I came up with this idea whilst I was kind of adamantly, really kind of being stubborn, sitting there like, how can I compete in this? I really want to compete. I want another go at it when I'm a bit better. Yeah. And I came up with the idea of having a commonwealth fight, as in you have two teams, or more than two teams even, but having a commonwealth team in the team event, so that you had any competitors that only had one fencer or two fencers that work, because a team...
As a sort of makeshift team.
A team requires 3 fencers. So I thought if you could get one from every country, then you could have a Commonwealth team and they could fight in that, and that would be a really nice thing to do. And then I would also get to, selfishly as well, I get to compete again. Yeah. So I put the idea to the president of the Commonwealth Fencing Association, Federation, and she said, actually, we've had this idea before, and we've been trying to do it for about 15 years, and we've never actually got round to doing it. She said, because it is near impossible because there's so many people involved. She said, but if you can do it, then you do it and tell us, and we'll do everything we can to help you. Right. So I was like, well, I'm not doing anything else other than watching fencing. So I put and that. So I thought, all right, I'll do it. I'll put my mind to it. I'll do it. And I spoke to all the different countries, and I got the best fencer from 6 different countries. So we had 2 teams of Commonwealth fencing. And I spoke to the organisers, and they put us on one of the finals pistes on camera, so it's actually online. Wow. You can search it up on YouTube. If you do want to, then it's Day 8 Green Piste Junior Commonwealth Fencing Championships 2018. And it's about 3 hours in, so you might want to skip the first 3 hours if that's
3
not what you're
hours of
interested
him
in.
Throwing up, followed by competition. So whatever tickles your fancy.
And I was so kind of concentrated on getting this organising together, getting the whole event to come together, get all the people in the right place at the right time, because they had a schedule to fit into, obviously. And then actually fighting. I was kind of so consumed about that I'd forgotten that there might be a medal to win in this. And I didn't realise that I'd won anything yet, and even after it finished. So my team won. I was captain of my team, and my team won, and that was great. I thought, just great. I've done it. It's now set in stone. Now they're going to do that at every Commonwealth. It was an inaugural event, so not just at the juniors. They're going to do it at the seniors, and they've invited me for the next senior Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, 2022. Brilliant. To compete and also to be there to organise this event. Right. Okay. To make sure that it carries on. And they called it the Spirit of the Commonwealth tournament at the Commonwealth Games, and they decided that they were going to give a gold medal for the best performance, effectively, in the whole tournament. So there's all these different countries, and all these different fencers, and the fencer who wins the most points gets the gold medal.
I see.
And I hadn't realised, because I hadn't watched it back or anything, that I'd actually won the most points, as well as being captain.
Right.
And as well as organising it, I'd actually won the most points. So they asked me to make sure that I was in full kit, full national kit for the closing ceremony. I thought, okay, cool. Is that just a requirement? Then I looked around and not everyone else was. And I was like, okay, that's a bit weird. So I was sitting there, and I thought they got to the end of the ceremony. I thought, oh, great, it's been a great tournament. I'm really happy with today, how it went. And then they said, before everyone goes, some of you may have noticed, because it was on the finals pistes, we had an inaugural event, and then they explained the event and what it was about. And they said that we're giving a gold medal to the best fencer in that match every time. So the idea is that if you're an individual fencer, you can win more than one gold.
Right.
You can compete in the team and you can try and win again.
Sure.
And they called my name out. I was like, really, like, no way. And they called my name out, and so I went up. And to be honest, it's a moment I'll never forget. Kind of going up with my Gibraltar flag.
And you've got the gold. You've got the gold medal.
Yeah, I've got it back here. Yeah. It was when they kind of put it over me, and I was standing there with my Gibraltar flag. I never thought when I went there, I didn't know what to expect, and I certainly didn't expect that.
I can imagine.
Of all things.
Do you think that this gold medal gave weight to your proposal to start an association?
I mean, definitely. I mean, also something that was nice was that they said, you have to come back next time with a team. Said, I'm expecting you to go away with this. Use this. You've won it. Go and use it.
Right.
And get yourself a team from Gibraltar, so that we can get a new nation into the game.
Yeah,
so it's not just you. And seeing it up on the medal board was just fantastic. For the first time for Gibraltar to be up on the medal board, on the medal table. And I kind of sent a picture back home, and then it hit the news, and they were like, oh, wow, this is great. And as that happened, I was told by a few friends of mine that work down at the stadium, they received about like loads and loads of calls, people saying, oh, can we try fencing? And they were like,
there you go.
Oh no, we don't do fencing. And they were like, well, hang on, we've just seen a Gibraltarian win a medal. Well, what do you mean you don't do fencing? So I had to explain that I'd not done it here.
But so mission complete, that you've, in the sense that you've generated interest now.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, I think fencing is one of those sports that, I'm going to put this down, I think fencing is one of those sports that everyone watches at the Olympics, even though if they don't know what's going on.
I mean,
one of those sports they just think it's really cool.
Exhibit A, yeah.
Just to watch and to try it, that's why I tried it, because I thought, oh, this is really cool, I'll give this a go. Yeah. And I think hopefully that's generated. I've heard a lot. We've got about 50 people at least that have already said, yeah, put me down. I want to register.
Brilliant.
Which for starting an association and starting a club for any sport, 50 to start with, without even advertising, is a great start, really. Just
when we thought we couldn't squeeze any more sporting associations into Gibraltar, here comes another one. It's great to see.
Yeah. Well, I think Gibraltarians in general will be quite good at it, because it sounds a little bit prejudiced, but I think Gibraltarians are very good at sport in general, because our culture is so based around sport. When there's football, when GFA are playing, everyone's there watching.
Yeah.
It's on all sorts of social media, and from a young age, you look at any boy or girl, they're doing some sort of sport.
Yeah.
And I think it was that enabled me to kind of progress at fencing a lot quicker than really I should have been expected to, because I only started when I was 13, which is very late for a sport if you're kind of hoping to reach a really high level. And I was fencing people that had been fencing since they were 6 or 7. Mm-hmm. So they had this kind of wealth of experience that I didn't have. And my chess, the mental aspect, the psychological difficulties of a competition, the stresses, the tactics, being able to think on your feet quickly, the chess helped me. Tennis and taekwondo and football, all those things, really physical. Tennis with the lunging, taekwondo with kind of built up my leg muscles a lot. Lots of different aspects skills from all the different sports meant that I had those transferable skills that meant I fitted into fencing really quickly.
Yeah.
when it would take other people that started at the same time as me kind of another 5 years to get to that point.
Yeah.
So I think as a nation, you know, I think it's quite possible that we'll be very good at it from a very young age, especially if we now start them at 7, 8 years old, teaching them with plastic ones. So don't panic, parents, if they're not using these just yet until they're quite a bit older.
Well, I hope, Stephen, you're absolutely right about your predictions for the future of fencing and sports on the Rock. I fully agree with you as well, that we are generally a very good sporting nation. So, Stephen, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to have to wrap
It's been
up.
a pleasure.
And that is just about all we've got time for in what was the final episode of the Sports Locker. So a big thanks to my guest, Stephen. Thank you at home for watching. We'll take a break now for the summer to refresh, recharge, and we'll do it all again in September. Good night.